Hi everyone, I'm Airier. Today we look at Auntie Chef's cooking Julia Child's cassoulet should be an Olympic sport. I don't know what a cassoulet is. I've never seen Auntie Chef's stuff, but it was heavily recommended by a Discord mod, Airier, who has never steered me wrong into looking into if the Emperor had a text to speech device from Alpha Buffa, which led to me having a crippling Warhammer 40k addiction. I think I need an adult. But that's never stopped me before, so we're going to jump right in and see what the heck I was just recommended. I don't know what we're getting into here. I don't know if this is a good video. I don't know if it's not, but he's only partially steered me wrong before, so we're going to check it out anyways. Airier, if I'm wrong, and you did, you're probably laughing right now. Hope you're happy with yourself. Never mind, I know you're happy with yourself. You're welcome. More importantly, video below. If it's good, hit it up. If it's not, do it anyways, because why not? Let's get started. Yeah, I know that feeling. That is literally me every time I'm making the kitchen.
What the hell is happening?
I say that same thing!
I'm going to make one of Julia Child's most well-known dishes. It's the cassoulet.
Now, I know who Julia Child is. She's a very famous cook, and I only know of her because a few people who I do know who are famous cooks talked about her, specifically Anthony Bourdain, and yeah, it was never so much focused on her stuff as her impact every now and again when he was in France, and I try not to watch those episodes because they kind of hurt in hindsight.
This is Jamie and Julia. Oh!
Jamie and Julia?
Now, this is the classic recipe from my classic cookbook.
Holy shit, dude. There's pages falling out. The spine is... No, the actual pages are literally pulling away from the cover. The spine itself is actually ruptured. It's pulling in and out at different angles. There's only two reasons you do this kind of thing to a book. One, you have absolutely no idea how to not fuck up a book. Or two, it's a cooking book and you use it religiously. So immediately, I already know this guy probably knows his shit.
Book, volume 1 of Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Now, it's taken me so long to finally make this recipe because I just look at this thing and...
That's dense.
Yeah, so, you know, I just sat down finally and just read over the recipe a few times to try to understand what it is all about.
Wait, is that the entire recipe?
And then I watched her on her show, the French chef, like, make this thing. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I can give it a try, see what happens. Cassoulet is a rich combination of beans baked with meat.
Wait, beans and meat? That's all it is? Honestly, with a name like cassoulet, I'm thinking, ooh, this is going to be fancy. No, it's apparently beans and meat. But it's French, so it's probably fancier. I don't know how that's going to go.
It's typical of southwestern France, and the composition of a cassoulet is, in typical French fashion, the subject of infinite dispute.
There's a joke in there somewhere about French people in this dispute, but I won't make that. It's a little bit too on the English ancestry, so I won't go that way.
So much so that if you have read or heard about cassoulet and have never tasted it, you come to expect a kind of rare ambrosia rather than nourishing country fare it actually is. What?
Country fare?
Ancient Greek myths, ambrosia, the food or drink of the Greek gods, is often...
Wait, he didn't... Oh, because I know a little more about myth than him, apparently. Mostly because watching a lot of overly sarcastic productions videos from Red, where they talk about ambrosia being the food of the gods, and when they fed to Psyche, she became godlike in some mythologies, or a cat. Yeah.
Depicted as conferring longevity or immortality upon whoever consumed it. Do you want me?
Immortal French
food
food.
of the gods. Got it. As cassoulet is native to a relatively large region of France, each part of which has its own specialties, arguments about what should go into this famous dish seem based on local traditions.
Seem based on local traditions? Oh, so it's like saying you have a pizza in America. It's like, I got a pizza! And then someone asks, "Just one?" And you're like, wait, there's more than one? Okay, it's like, there's New York, and then there's Chicago, and then there's whatever the hell California does, which sometimes is a pizza, and other times it tastes good, but it ain't a pizza. I'm serious. There's sometimes you just have the weirdest shit over there. It's very creative, but a pizza it is not.
Yeah, okay, so to sum that all up, you can make cassoulet with goose, or you can make it with pork and sausages.
So insert any meat.
And if you make one, then the other side's going to debate you about what a cassoulet is, and then if you make the other... Anyway, Julia's is with...
Just like the divide between the people in New York who make pizza and the people who Chicago who do it wrong.
With the pork and the sausages. Cassoulet de porc et de mouton. Anyway, this is a monster of a recipe. She even says here the recipe makes no attempt to cut corners, as
How long is the
None of
description
us
just of
do.
what you're getting into?
And the concoction of a good cassoulet is a fairly long process.
Also, I just noticed his wine collection. Oh, no, that's the heavy spirit collection. All partially used, but never really high there. Is that just display wine? Not no wine, sorry, liqueur. Good choices.
It
I
is
think.
around
Maybe?
11 o'clock in the old AM, and I have a lot
How
to
long
do.
could this take?
Let's get cooking. What I have
Probably a
in
lot.
here. Ooh. This is 2.5 pounds of pork loin that has been boned. Or
I don't know cooking, so when you say the pork loin was boned, I'm going to assume it means removing bones. The alternative would be they put bones in? I don't know cooking. That would be weird, but maybe that's a thing. What?
deboned. She says
Oh,
boned.
deboned.
So this is a nice looking
no.
cut of
Okay,
pork,
it's just
kind of pricey,
misworded.
but last night I started this thing. I had to trim off all the excess fat. I had to figure out how to do that.
That is so much fat. I can never show this to my wife because she would legitimately have a panic attack. Wow, I mean, it probably tastes good, but whoo, damn.
It was a great time. And then I had this marinating in a salt marinade,
Salt?
which was a combination of like,
Oh, because the salt would actually then, it's part of how it interacts with water, making the cells absorb the flavoring because it's, this is a chemistry and a biological term that I actually remember. I understand the mechanism because salt makes things bloat essentially, although there's a different term for it. That's also why if you have too much salt, you bloat because you're retaining more water. And that's also how you get flavorings into meat because it forces the water, which has the flavoring, into the meat. I just do not remember the term. It's bugging me. Because I
lots
actually
of
know I knew
salt,
it.
Pepper,
much salt did you
thyme,
put in?
crushed up bay leaf, some garlic,
thyme.
allspice. Yeah, I just had
allspice
that
taste
sitting
like?
in that marinade overnight in the fridge, and here we are.
I mean, I'll be honest, if they just cooked that right there, that would probably taste amazing. If I didn't cook it for reasons of having burned boiling water and destroyed the pan in the process, among others. I'd say I'm salty about that, but that's okay, actually, never mind. It's completely accurate.
Smells fantastic. And now I got to figure out how to roast a pork because I have shamefully never done that before.
You and me
I'm gonna
both.
Dry this thing off and
Wait,
wipe
you
off the
dry it
marinade.
off?
Well, if
Why would you get
can.
rid of the
There's some
flavorings?
bay leaf on there that is really on there. I think.
Why
that's
would you
fine.
want to take that
So
off?
I'm going to use a dish that
That
I
seems
know
like the
for
best
sure
part to
is
add
not
on.
going to be coming up in the future. I'm just going to put it in this dish. I never use this dish.
Is that the right size?
Yeah.
Is there
Here's
a
your
size
moment. What? All right, I've just been stopped dead in my tracks.
What?
Yeah, okay, I get it. I
What's
get
wrong?
it. It's just kind of confusing with all the dishes I got to use.
Wait.
My favorite.
Wait, why does he have to use multiple? He said it's an Olympic sport. Oh, God, is this going to be like a shot put every time you just try to move anything around? Or is this one of those things you need multiple counters with multiple ovens to make this thing work?
Braising
Oh,
dish.
God, I
This
hope
is gonna be
not.
one of those videos where you're honestly just gonna have to bear with me while I try to figure this all out. It's gonna be a long day.
That is
So
a
3
huge
tablespoons of
bowl.
pork fat
Wait, specifically
onto
pork fat?
medium heat.
That must smell amazing, but God, that'll
Once
kill
the
you.
pork fat starts to smoke, I'm gonna add
Wait, it's
the
supposed to
pork.
smoke?
I gotta brown it on all sides. It's gonna take around 10 minutes.
Oh, that's how you're supposed to do that? No, I definitely did it wrong. What about the inside? It actually stands up?
Pork into another dish. This is one of those days that's gonna be really difficult to mise en place
the edges?
everything. So just
Mise en place? It's probably a French term, but I have no idea what that means, unless he means cutting into pieces? I don't speak French. I only know a little Spanish, and there's a reason I don't speak Spanish.
I'm just gonna be doing everything a bit slower. It's not a race, it's a marathon.
That counts as slower? If this is an Olympic sport to him, at what point does he break down and go, oh God, why am I doing this? Because I'm knowing by that point, I would be sitting there going like, weak. Well, completely lying to myself and saying that I wouldn't have already broken down at cutting the carrots. I probably would have cut off a finger at that point. I would like to keep them all attached again this time. It only happened once.
Chopped up carrot, peeled onion, and I was watching Julia slice these onions a
How did you do that so
specific way,
fast?
and that's
This
just
guy
all
has
I'm
a
going to
cooking
do
channel.
today
Of course
too.
he knows what he's doing.
Just like,
I That is so thin. Holy. No, there's some thicker ones. But
Gonna
that's...
need a couple unpeeled cloves of
just
garlic.
pulled-
Cheesecloth. In the cheesecloth, I need like 4 sprigs of parsley,
heard of cheesecloth.
half
I don't really know
a
what
bay
it is.
leaf, and a quarter teaspoon of thyme.
Does that actually
Okay,
have
tied
an
with
effect, or
some
is it really
string. Okay, the
powerful?
onions didn't make me cry when I cut them, but
Now they are.
like my eyes that close to them. Now, come on.
yeah.
The used pork fat that's in here, I don't need any more than 2 spoonfuls of it. So that's good. It's like 1 spoonful. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter, like a knob, to a medium
actually
heat.
landed straight
in
up.
with the butter, the vegetables.
Oh.
Why did I do? And
Showing off for the
the
camera, yeah.
herb bouquet.
Wait, you put the cloth in there?
Okay, I feel like that could use a little more butter.
Wait, you can cook with the cloth? Oh. That is very
Lid goes
clean.
on for 5 minutes.
Only okay.
Maybe turn the heat down a little bit because I want to cook that slowly. I just need to take a breather here. So guys, I'm just tired.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, like right here. I have no idea what's in the cheesecloth, but the vegetables cooked in the pork fat and you can see the onions caramelizing. I would just call it a meal and eat it right there. This is also why I don't cook, because I would be satisfied way earlier on.
I'm tired of overcooking my meat. So I finally spent here. So guys, I'm just tired. I'm tired of overcooking my meat.
Nothing to say. Nope. Nothing to say. Nothing incriminating. I definitely didn't think of anything that makes me a complete and utter 5-year-old that has literally no self-restraint. I'm just going to shut up now because there's nothing I need to say or I'm fighting against at all. Just shut up. Just going to shut up.
So I finally spent the
See,
20
I have
bucks
self-restraint.
and got this meat thermometer. And I think that's going to help. I really do.
God, that
So
does look
my
amazing.
browned pork goes in
Oh,
with
back
the
into it.
veggies. But now I can monitor the temperature
Wait.
of this pork while
Does he just let it sit on there to cool, or does he do something else to it? Oh, honestly, they just sauteed this as it is. I don't even think I'd care what they do with the rest of it. Can you imagine the flavors that would be all intertwined with the meat juice as it seeps out into the already sauteed onions? Oh, but that's not what he's making here, because that'd basically just be sauteing a pork loin, whatever that is. Loin? I don't know cuts of meat. I know he
it's
said
in
it
the
already, though.
oven. So that goes in like
Is
so.
it even fully cooked, though?
Okay.
That is a
Like
very,
that? Yeah, just
very
like that. So I
weird
need the
thermometer. I've never
pork
seen anything
to
like
reach
that.
a temperature 175 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, let me just figure out how to make this thing work. So get the lid
new
on.
tech.
How do
Wait.
you get the lid on in the pork like that? That's the
Oh,
way
does that even...
the lid can go
Oh, it
on.
bends.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it supposed to bend the thermometer, like to get it in, or is that what? I mean, I don't know how the tech on this works, but apparently there's flexible thermometers that you insert right up the meat. I'm sure saying that way will never come back to bite me in the butt, but okay, yeah, just moving on.
I'm excited. And I just broke it.
Oh,
Back
that's
onto the stove for a second, and I
That is
need
terrible.
to get the meat sizzling.
Wouldn't that break
Yeah.
it though with a cord?
That's sizzling. I get this into the oven for however long it's going to
He
take.
didn't take
I
the
think
cord
around
out.
A few hours until that temperature is 175
problem?
degrees Fahrenheit or 180. Or
Can
So
he
now
do
we
that?
wait. I've never done this before. What do I do with this?
Is it even safe to have something coming right out of the oven because the heat would transfer through it? Or it looks like it's metal, but what? That does not seem safe. And it's not
Whatever.
magnetic. Does he just use it there?
Periodically, like baste it a few times. Baste it with the juices.
Well, apparently it's working.
Now, next up, you need a half a pound of fresh pork rind or salt pork rind. I picked up some fresh stuff. You know, pork skin, rind skin.
Oh.
And
Rind
I
is skin,
overbought
okay.
because that's how it was sold.
I thought those were towels. I've had pork rinds before. I didn't really like them. They were crunchy until they were chewy. And it was just like, oh yeah, I'm eating skin. Ugh. It got to me. And I'm just looking at this going, I know we eat animals. But something about the skin wrapped up like a towel and I ain't a vegetarian. I ain't a vegan. But this is morbid as fuck to me. It's literally just having it wrapped up like a towel that's doing it. If it was in any other way, I think I'd be fine. Just It just, oh.
But it's fine. Having some pig skin in the house is it's a strange thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I need half a pound of this.
I'm glad he called it disturbing. Like, if this was meat, I wouldn't even be bothered. But the fact that it's rolled up skin is getting me. That just seems weird. Maybe it's because I haven't dealt with skin before. I feel like I should make a joke about it. I don't have any skin in the game, but that just is, that's bad even for me. Oh.
This stuff. Okay, this is really, really, really intense. Saucepan of cold water.
It actually does look like it.
This is crazy. What Julia wants, Julia gets. So in a saucepan of cold water, I gotta bring...
Is this an American thing where I'm just freaking out because I'm American? This is a French thing where they wouldn't? I don't know here. This is a completely different cultural thing for me. I do not know if this is weird to anyone else. I mean, if you need food, you need food. And if it's from the countryside, they need food sometimes. But just the rolls of skin. Ugh.
My half a pound
Maybe
of
it's
fresh
just me.
pork skin to a boil. And the leftover pork skin, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it just yet.
Can you imagine someone walking in and looking at his creature like, why do you have rolls of skin here? Is this where Tom went? I didn't like Tom, but I didn't want to know. Oh, you served dinner last night. That's where your mind would go. Okay, maybe that's where my mind would go. And it doesn't look so bad when it's unrolled on the inside, but when you see the outside, it looks like normal skin and it's close enough to human that's really freaky. I'm sorry, it kind of freaks me out a bit. It's shriveled. And somehow this part already looks better. As soon as it's cooked, it looks better.
Minute. Drain this.
Did he just dump it out?
Rinse in cold water.
Is it supposed to be dumped out? Did he just dump it straight into the sink?
Do it again. I don't know why. Back to a boil.
Rinse
Drain
it off?
in cold water.
Whoa.
With some large scissors.
See, it already looks less like skin to me, and I can deal with this better. Prior, though, it was a little close. And yeah, I don't think I could have dealt with that if it was on longer.
Cut the rind into strips 1/4 inch wide. Yeah. Cut the strips into small triangles. Like I said, I watched the video of her doing this. And, she made it look easy.
Well, I know where that pig came from. It's literally the teat. It's like finding a random snout or like lips, and it's like I could have gone without that.
Easy peasy. Although I am very alarmed at the pig nipples on the skin. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna show that. That's just
it's just poking right at us now.
The pig nipples, because I just snipped those off. It's just a bit too much, quite honestly.
Yes.
And
I didn't notice that. It stands out now that the heat's hit it.
Oh, there's like pig hairs too. So I cut.
Oh, sorry. That the hair on it. That just. This video is this is legitimately gonna hurt. Oh. Okay, I'm good. Just gotta loosen up a bit. Okay, just don't talk about like hair in the food. Oh, I am not a French cook. That is very much the case.
Like around 1/4 inch strips.
I can deal with it. It looks like that. I can deal with that.
It's kind of confused me a little bit, and I recall from the video that I watched of her doing this that she didn't cut them into triangles. She just went for it, honestly, just little pieces. Screw those triangles.
So dice them?
It's getting exhausting, so I'm just gonna do this.
He's literally just dicing the skin.
Okay, done.
Seems like it'd be really hard to
Add this back into the saucepan with more cold water.
Cold water? Wouldn't they want hot water to bring it to a boil? Or are they more worried about impurities from the hot water that was already contained from the tap? I never know with that, because I guess hot water would come to a boil faster because it already has the energy imparted. This is probably one of those reasons I'm demonstrating I'm not a cook. Although I guess part of the reason for this is, one, it would be extra filling, and two, maybe the natural collagen from the skin would help emulsify it? I could be talking out of my ass for all I know, but I'm thinking maybe it is. It could also be completely unrated. Maybe they just boil it off. I don't know.
Back over here, simmer slowly for half an hour.
That was fast. Oh, it's down in the oven.
Pork is done.
Is it?
shut it, please. Just gotta put this pork aside to cool it off.
That does look
Reserve
good.
the cooking juices. Keep the cooking juices in the fridge until the fat rises to the surface and I can just peel it right off. I just don't have a fat separator right now.
Wait. I know fat would separate from the water aspects once it's not actually stirred around. But yeah, because it would congeal faster and it would separate, so then you can actually get it as a whole. And maybe just fish out the chunks. I've never actually thought of doing that. And then you can just reheat the stock itself. Oh, I wonder if you do anything with the fat itself. No, it's not like candles are made from that anymore.
It's actually in the mail. I'm waiting for it, but it didn't come in time.
Wait,
so
what?
I gotta do it the fridge way. It's
Oh,
fine. So I'm gonna need
separated.
1 small onion, slice this one up, tips off, and
Why
then
don't you
balls
use
to the
tips?
wall.
It's probably because of the consistency.
Another cheesecloth, and go 4 unpeeled
getting the
garlic
idea that
cloves,
cheesecloth
2
is very
cloves,
important.
2 bay leaves, parsley, that's like
Only
6
2
to
leaves.
8 sprigs, half a teaspoon of thyme.
It's like an entire wrap of parsley and just 2 leaves of bay. I'm assuming the flavor's stronger for some reason. I mean, I know for a fact garlic is, but usually I stop at garlic because I love the flavor.
After half
lot
an
of
hour
thyme.
of simmering, the pork skin is done doing whatever it was doing,
What
which
was it supposed to do?
freshening up, softening, and it's gonna help lose itself when I have to cook it in the beans.
Oh yeah, I forgot this was a bean dish.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Strain it?
Leave saucepan aside. Next up, we need to talk about beans. This is 2 pounds worth of dry cannellini beans that have been soaking in cold water overnight.
I don't know anything about beans. Does that soften them? Are they naturally hard? I do not know what's going on here.
So I've only cooked with dry beans maybe once or twice.
Oh,
in
they
my
are
life,
dry,
so
so
I
you have
don't
to literally
know
rehydrate
exactly. I'm always using the canned stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're
guess
still
this
very
would be
firm
cheaper.
still, but everything seems to be right on cue. So
They're
let's
not
just
supposed to be
move
soft?
on to the next thing. I'm gonna add in the beans.
Oh, you can even hear them
I really
do
want to
that.
follow exactly how it's written in the book today.
No, seriously, did you hear that? He said they were a little firm, but you can actually hear them clatter around still. They're not even a little bit soft. That is very hard.
I hope.
Sounds like they're almost in a
I
shell.
really want to follow exactly how it's written in the book today. I want to do this cassoulet exactly
Also,
how
plus there's
she
audio setup for
mentions
this.
it in this book. So yeah, I'm using 2 pounds of the beans because I don't want to split in half. And yeah, it's a lot of beans. It's a lot of
How
beans.
many people does this serve?
As far as I can tell, the only ingredient
Peasant
that
fare,
I've
that's
kind of
probably quite a lot.
oopsie daisied on
Bacon.
is the bacon. She
What?
says streaky bacon, unsmoked, unsalted, and a chunk of it. And I bought like
Chunk? Oh, yeah, because strips of bacon is actually more of an American thing, and Canadians even have it thicker. But there's some places where bacon is a full cut of meat, as opposed to just something you have on the side. Oh,
strips of
yeah.
bacon. I really want to follow exactly how it's written in the book
No,
today.
that ain't gonna happen.
Not quite a pound either. You dum-dum. Can I use strips of bacon instead of a big chunk of it?
I mean, it's gonna be thinner.
That is
I'm wondering if the way that it's actually more separated will maybe impart flavor differently than he's expecting. I mean, it would taste great because it's bacon, but I have no idea what the actual outcome is supposed to be normally.
the question. That is unsmoked, it is unseasoned, but it's strips.
And it's still bacon, so. Yeah.
I don't know if I should.
Oh, he just touched all the food and he went immediately to touch that again. Oh, you have like all the. Ugh. Yeah, he probably needs to wash up after this is done.
Be slicing it or not. I'm going to keep it whole for now. Simmer that for 10 minutes to render down that fat. Okay, back
Oh.
to the saucepan here.
Are they putting
gonna
bacon
add
directly
in
on the
my
beans?
Bacon, 1 small sliced up onion, the
That's a
pork
small
skin,
sliced up
and the
onion?
cooking liquid because it's now kind of gelatinous a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is called emulsification, I think.
My herb bouquet.
Oh, that does not look
because-
better. You know, I thought it was better when it was cooked, but no, it actually looks worse right now. It actually looks worse. I'm sorry, the pork skin's getting to me. The rest of it I can deal with, but oh. I was not expecting that to hit me so much, but it really is.
I was using fresh pork skin and not salt pork. I need
Ooh, I just noticed what he has right here. Is that a coffee pot? Ooh, I'm going to pretend it is because that sounds amazing.
to use a dessert spoon. A dessert spoon of salt.
Yeah, salt goes pretty far.
Oh, 4 quarts of water.
Oh, yeah, I probably need that.
Simmer for around 90 minutes until the beans are just tender. And then,
So they weren't
skim the
supposed to
scum
be
as you
hard,
go
okay.
along and If the beans are not fully submerged in the water, pour a little boiling water on top. How about that?
Already boiling too.
No, actually do that. Skim that scum.
You don't want the scum?
I feel like maybe I'm halfway. I can't tell.
This is just me not knowing how to cook. What does skimming the scum do? Is it like just to get rid of any extra impurities you don't want to deal with? Or does it remove an aspect that you don't want in the flavor at the end? I don't know. Or is it because it doesn't look good? For all I know, maybe that's the actual point of it.
Woo. This is 2 pounds
Of
Okay, so what I got
What
right in front of
the-
me here is 2 pounds of boneless lamb shoulder. That
how much meat is he putting into this thing? I mean, like, seriously, before we had a huge hunk of meat that I think was pork, and now we have the lamb shoulder and the bacon. This is like, is this meant to feed? It's probably meant to feed a family, and then just it's probably a soup or a broth that's really thick at the end, or a pie for all I know, just so that you can save it and have it later.
the butcher has seemingly attached some. Is that rosemary? I think it's rosemary. This was kind of a special purchase. Everything today has been special purchases.
How often do they get these orders
Remove
anymore?
excess fat, which is what I did with the pork
Aren't you
last
supposed to
night.
not cut away from yourself?
So that's
no, you're
simple
supposed to cut away
enough.
from yourself, not
I mean, this
towards
is a
yourself.
fattier
Yeah.
piece of lamb, but I mean, I can get rid of some of the obvious.
That is
There's
a
no
lot of
bone in
fat.
it, and I got to cut it into chunks, roughly 2-inch squares.
He's probably going to get rid of the fat after he cuts it.
I don't want them too thick. Yeah, that is a lot of fat.
Take all of the extra fat off of it, and there's often some little fat in between the layers.
Stringing
so
this,
that it's all
I
taken
can't do
off.
that.
Julia says to remove all the extra fat, even the stuff that's in between the layers.
All of it.
And
So this
there's
is
quite
supposed
a
to be
bit
lean.
of it, so I'll just do what I can. I removed as much
extra
fat as I
fat change
could,
the
but if I
consistency?
continue to do it, it's just going to keep making these pieces smaller and smaller and no longer 2-inch squares. So I'll just
More
deal
fat for
with
the
the fat. It's fine. I'm eating it.
Well, at least he's
So
doing
that is a pound
Bones?
of lamb bones. They're going to go in a
Makes sense.
450-degree oven
Is that a lot? It sounds like a
for
lot.
20 minutes. I'm going to shake them every like
What
5
do
minutes
they
or whatever, but they
do,
got to
though?
brown. Things are happening. You can't see it right now.
I mean, I'm just looking at it. He has the cleanliness. I mean, I'm assuming he washes arms. He washes surface. It's not a big deal. But at the same time, that's his cutting space, and just all the greases from the arms right on it. And sorry, the few times I was in food service, it was just one of those things I got beat into my head over like half a decade of don't. Also, just I guess apparently a germaphobe that I might be is just going, "Ugh." There's like juices all over the planet. It's on your arms now. And you're going to transfer it to everything. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, it looks like I am a germaphobe. Oh, wow, who'd have thought?
But I know things are happening. So we've
Are
all
they?
been there, right? We bought something off Amazon and it came in the mail and it was, you're like, whoops, that's not exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I bought
Nothing
the wrong
expensive yet,
thing. Yeah, I was trying to buy a non-stick pan the other day and
no.
I was just like a normal sized pan. I bought this by accident,
What's
which
that?
if you can see is quite large.
Yes.
It's a
How big
it's
was it
Big
supposed to be?
Bertha.
So it's roughly, oh, so it's roughly shoulder width. That is a very big pan.
It's the biggest frying pan I have ever seen in my entire life. It is great for something. It's great for not crowding your meat when you're browning it.
Or making really
Okay, so
big pancakes in a
remember
single
when I
mold.
cooked that duck? I wonder if this duck cooked quicker because it was sitting in all this duck fat because there's just so much fat that came
that
out of
actually
this
how
bad
it
boy.
works?
You got a lot of leftover duck fat.
Oh.
And Julia says using the duck fat for this moment right now is perfectly acceptable. So that's what we're
That
going to
is
do. That's
a
like
lot
what,
of
3 to 4
fat.
tablespoons of duck fat?
But the pan is
There's
so
a lot of stuff
huge.
going on at the exact same time right now, but I need to multitask right now.
Does he even have room to put the monster pan anywhere? Because it's almost like he'd have to move these over and put both burners on to get this thing to keep it on the side. Maybe his kitchen's bigger, or is there additional space on the side? I do not know.
To get this done. So make way for the king.
I had no idea. Oh, yeah, it's a year ago, and then Queen Elizabeth just died. Ooh, yeah. I didn't even think about that until he put King Charles on the side, and yup, that would do it. Yeah, I've said that before. We forgot to stir these or move them. Oh, you can hear the sizzling. And they're off in probably the other juice they're not supposed to touch.
Everything's cool. So
Is it?
brown each side of the lamb meat. See, no crowding.
There's so much going on. I would never keep track of this. Oh.
So the lamb has been browned.
I want to watch that again.
So the lamb.
Oh, baby. Sorry, there's something absolutely seductive about meat frying in duck fat and just how it started to shrink and shrivel, but also glaze itself in the fat. And oh, that is food. I don't even know about all the rest of it. There's some parts I'm like, I'm not sure about it. That, though, that looks good. If that was the entirety of it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we're good. This is good. I like it.
Lamb has been browned.
If you stop
So
there,
have the lamb bones.
is there anything in the lamb they do?
Stuff going on.
What
over
animal
here.
haven't they included at this point? Lamb, duck, pork. I don't think there's a chicken yet. We're gonna hit all the basic food groups.
I've never cut onions so fast in all my
Wait,
life.
beef.
That's 8 ounces of sliced onions.
That's only 8
Gotta
ounces?
Charge the battery on the camera.
That's only 8 ounces? Wow, that really went further than I thought.
Just because I've seen the video of Julia making this too, I kind of have an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that makes one of us.
So if this isn't the right idea, then I mean I apologize.
I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Is very much
But
how
I
he's
have a
coming
feeling
to.
it is.
And I completely get that feeling.
Things are getting
why I
f***y
don't-
over here.
Oh,
A piece of meat fell on the ground. I'll pick that up in a second. Come on. Oh, the Big Bertha's heavy. So I have an idea. I think it's this. Move the browning fat into another pan
Yes.
because I need a pan that's going to be oven safe. And this Big Bertha, I don't think is.
oh, why not?
Okay, so I got my new pan that I'm going to use with the browning fat in there. Medium heat, yeah. Then I'm going to add in the onions. Brown these
so much
onions
onion.
lightly for 5 minutes.
Ooh.
Because I'm making a cooking show, I need to make this work for the cameras too. So we're just gonna have to shuffle things around for a
Is the
second.
heat even on?
Just so you know, doing all of this right now, all at once in the same day, this is one of the more challenging recipes I've ever done.
How many hours has this taken for him?
In the TV show, she made it look so easy. And
Yeah.
she says you can prepare this in 1 day, but 2 or even 3 days of leisurely on and off cooking are much easier.
This is a 3-day preparation. My dude, why would you do this to yourself? You have editing. You don't need to do this in one go. Oh, I don't even know cooking. I feel sorry for this guy. I mean, if I did, it'd probably be 3 weeks and I'd still fuck it up by the end. And by end, I mean immediately, but details.
Well, so I'm gonna add the lamb bones, the lamb meat, and then all
At
this
what
other
point do they
stuff
need
that
to
I don't
continue?
even
This
have
looks
prepared
amazing, though.
yet.
Like all the...
So this is roughly 3 cups, 700 milliliters of beef stock,
I guess he just got that separately.
5 tablespoons of tomato paste.
Really? Random tomato paste? Why?
Do I have any
Why do they
time
need tomato
left?
paste? What
Half
does
a
that add
teaspoon
for?
of thyme. There's like a thyme shortage over here. Not thyme, but like the herb thyme.
Right on
and
time.
You're never gonna believe this. 2 more bay leaves. Dry
Why just 2?
white vermouth. I need 437 milliliter-ish.
Yeah, that was definitely for there and not just for personal upkeep. Yeah. I swear, some people introduce alcohol to dishes because they want an excuse to have it on hand. It's like, oh, where'd the extra go? Oh, we had to dispose of it. It would be a waste otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, according to plan.
Of it, which is gonna be what, just like a little under 2 cups.
Is his
worth.
pan
Add in some
big enough to
salt
hold it all?
and pepper.
If they add any
Cover that
more to
up.
it,
This has
does that
to
boil
simmer
over?
for an hour and a half, and I have the choice between.
How does he keep that from boiling over? This is me not knowing how to cook, so I'm actually very curious here. At what point does it actually become an issue where the lid would start popping off? Is there like a steam release in there? Or does that actually be something he needs to check on so it doesn't immediately boil over and destroy something under it, like seeping into the electronics of the actual handle itself? Unless it's fully automated, not automated, mechanical and only gas. I don't know.
Leaving it on the stove like this or putting it into the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. I choose
you
the
try it
oven just to get it the hell out of my way.
Oh, and if it boils over, it's contained. I mean, it's still a mess, but
What the hell is happening?
your guess is as good as mine, dude. Oh, he's just slowly getting things done.
Got the lamb in the oven for another hour. The beans aren't cooked through yet. They're not tender enough. I have them on the stove for
do you need a
another
lid? Do
half
you
an
need to
hour.
stir
I'll
them?
check
What?
them then. You think that, I could just take a time out now, but I can't.
What's next?
It's not necessarily what you have to do that's so challenging. It's just
Moving it around?
the amount of things that you have to do.
It's juggling, because if you're doing one thing, you only have to focus on one thing. But he's been doing so many different pots. He's moving around the ones in the oven, the ones boiling, and trying to get them there, and they're not going well. So he has to keep monitoring them because the times they're supposed to be done isn't actually working. And you almost need a spreadsheet, and you just knock off things as they come up, or like a personal assistant to, and I don't mean like a digital one. I mean like an actual person with a schedule going, okay, we have this part now. Did you check this? Because it's a lot to keep track of on top of actually doing the job. Seems like more of a management task than anything else.
The volume of work. Yeah, we still got to do.
What else is there?
Homemade sausage cakes.
They have random sausage cakes. I guess that'd be like a patty. Why? How many? Is this like a full meal? What kind of individual piece is this? This was just beans and meat, and all of this is going on. What is this thing? I can see why people would actually fight over this, because there is so much going on. I have no idea what the fuck is happening.
A substitute for blah, blah, blah. Bowl me. Thank you. It's 1 pound of ground.
Okay, that was actually a very cool cut. I want to see it again.
Blah, blah, blah. Bowl me.
It's a simple cut. He just cuts himself, says bowl me, and then he throws it up, and he just cuts out the middle section so it looks like it just fell from the sky. But it's really well done, because he was actually standing in the same place for both of them. Which is just, it's a cute little silly edit, but it's very fun. I enjoy when people do that.
Thank you. It's 1 pound of ground pork, 2 teaspoons of salt.
I can't tell if this is making me
Eyeballing
hungry or terrified.
Taking too long. There's a second
Terrified.
teaspoon. Just like a little bit of pepper, a big pinch of allspice, clove
does
of garlic
allspice
mashed.
Oh, you can
I'm not
mash
gonna
them?
believe how many bay leaves I've used today, but I need a crumbled up full one. I just have the spice
Just one?
mixer. I'm just gonna
Grinder?
see if I can crumble it up this way.
Does that even work? Oh, okay, yeah, apparently it does. Sort of.
Crumbled up bay leaf and
Yeah.
1/8 teaspoon of cognac. One optional chopped truffle.
Again, they're
I
just
don't
adding
think
all the
so.
alcohol in.
Not today. I think this is lean ground pork, but I can't be 100% sure because I can't remember because I ordered it online and I don't know what exactly it was.
Wait, you can order food online? Like, I get DoorDash and it's over expensive, but just like random unprepared meat you get online? He must be someplace where that's not a problem, and if it is, well, we're going to find out when the end of the video is literally him experiencing sudden unexpected weight loss.
Anywho, that's fine. Instead of 6 ounces of pork fat, I
did
think
that
I'm
here,
just
I
going to
would
add
die.
in 4 ounces. Going down with the ship at this
That is
point.
so much
Form
fat.
into
Like,
cakes,
he's just adding
2
more and
inches
more.
in diameter.
They almost look like burgers, though.
Bring
not each
Big
patties.
Bertha back over here.
To get
so
them all in
what I
one
gotta
go.
do is brown these lightly on a medium heat.
This literally is so much food. This is not a single dish. This is a family of 12. At the time Julia Child was doing this, people actually would still have families that range between 12 to 5. So I guess that makes a lot more sense at that point.
Is this on?
Yeah, it is. I saw the flame.
Sizzle.
Is the pan not hot enough?
Gotta wait for it to sizzle.
How hot is the
What the
pan?
hell's going on?
Is
There
the
we
pan
go.
too thick?
I was gonna say don't crowd the pan, Jamie, but actually Bertha's got it all covered.
Yeah, there's that for it. Yeah, they just made burgers.
The
But they're
beans
smaller
are
as the
done.
patties,
They're
okay.
nice and just about tender. Well, they are tender. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. They're tender.
The bacon looks
which is
good
what
in
I
that.
wanted, because I was really thinking the problem I have right now with the beans is that
No
there's
flavor?
a whole bunch of pork skin in here, and I cut it up into little pieces. And it's mixed in there with the beans, but I don't want the pork skin in my finished dish.
Why
Thank
not?
you very much. And Julia never mentions the pork skin again. All she says is,
What?
I wish you could just search through the book the way you can a phone.
I mean, there's probably a digital copy if you really wanted to do that, but apparently he's just going through his incredibly used copy. Or did he miss a step? Ooh, would that be important? I mean, it's not baking, so it wouldn't actually destroy the solution, but it might render the flavor profile very different. And also, randomly finding a nipple in your meal is always kind of disturbing for everyone out there who's saying, like, ah, no, maybe not so much. Ew. You know what I mean. Oh, please don't go full Dahmer on me.
Just find this word. Pork rind, where are you? She says with the pork skin that it will lose itself as it cooks with the beans. I'm just not buying that because I can see all this pork skin.
Maybe that's why they're supposed to do that?
And I just don't want that in the dish. It's just like, it looks like pork skin. Ugh. So I gotta do something, and I gotta do something now. I'm gonna drain it.
He's actually searching for it.
This is like gonna find a needle and a hay. Gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of patience.
And it's also going to change the consistency because it'll be cooling off at the same time after. But maybe that would be fine because it could be over multiple days. So maybe this is safe to reheat without losing aspects. Because sometimes resolidification might matter. Or maybe it wouldn't in this case. Again, because it normally can take 3 days.
But it's going to be worth it in the end.
You sure about
Maybe
that?
the spider web will.
This is a level of OCD that I respect
We're really just
and
getting
terrified
started.
by.
I have this whole thing I got to sort. Tighten up your bootstraps. Is that an expression? We got to go searching for beans. It is incredibly hot, yes. And this sucks, but
And the steam
I
would be
just
going
want
right
it
up.
done.
Oh.
I want this whole dish done. And the only way I can get it done is by doing this quickly. So I just have to power through, persevere, persevere. Like, what was she thinking? Why would anyone want to eat these little pork skin bits?
Because it's probably going to be absolutely destroyed by other things, maybe breaking them down. I'm assuming there's going to be something acidic eventually tearing it apart, but I don't know. I don't know how this
I
is
thought it was
made.
just for flavor. I really didn't think this through. I shouldn't have cut them up into little pieces. I should have kept it whole.
Maybe
I wasn't
that's why?
thinking. That's the problem.
Or cut them even thinner to the point where that
The
wouldn't matter.
juices go off to the side. And then
Still
now I
wants
got
to
a
say
salad bowl with my beans. Full pieces of
How
bacon.
long did this
I
take?
think I need those later, so let's just hold on to those.
He's literally shifting through by
Get
hand.
out of there.
Does he need that though?
This is the lamb.
He's still not done
Do
going
not,
through it
and I
either.
repeat, do not cut up little pieces of pork skin and add them in with the beans. If you're gonna do that, just add big strips. That way you can identify it, you can remove it, rather than doing whatever the hell I'm doing, which is not fun in the least.
I would not have the patience for this. I respect him, but this is insane.
I can't believe I just did that. Beans
I
without
can't
the pork
either.
skin. You can see here how unappetizing this looks.
It actually looks. Why'd you put it in your mouth?
We are now moving on to... Oh. All right, the cooked lamb. Holy hell, that looks good.
Also, the underside of that pan, man. Holy shit. And you can see it did actually overflow a few times, but not a lot. And that little bit of tomato paste went a long way. It completely spread it around because boiling would disturb the liquid actually spreading it around. I mean, this is such a weird dish for me because at every step, I'm like, this is its own full meal right here. It's not a single meal. And it's just, I still come back to the initial part of, oh, it's just beans and meat. Cool. But then it's just this and the lamb, which is part of this now, and then the beans, and then all the onions. There's been so many onions. There's so many complex moving parts here. Yeah, I see why this is broken up all fast, because you're not making a dish. You're making multiple dishes and then layering them in each other, maybe? I don't know, but this is not a single dish. It's a multiple course meal that you're just going to do something with to shove them all together at the end. How many people is this supposed to feed? Like, did this guy just not make videos for a while after this because he had to get rid of the evidence, or what?
Woo! You gotta remove
Yeah,
the lamb
it
from
does
the
look good,
dish.
though.
Discard the bones.
Why? Like, did the marrow completely melt out of it? Because bone marrow is actually very tasty. I've had it once or twice. It was actually very good.
Where's the bay leaf? There's
Also,
the bay
if
leaf.
you have
Did I
dogs,
put 2 in here? I can't remember. There it is. There it is.
I mean, they're
okay.
edible.
Remove all but 2 tablespoons of fat and carefully correct seasoning of cooking liquid.
Wait, remove the fat from the liquid without emulsifying? Oh,
Remember when I made that pork loin about like 3 weeks ago? Here it is. And then I need to cut this roast into 1.5 inch to 2 inch serving
Very
chunks.
thick.
Also slice that into about a quarter.
The episode on TV, that's what her pork loin looked like
Yeah?
those slices. So I'm just gonna mimic that. Quarter
looks
inch
pretty good.
pieces. That's
Is it bad that my first thought, if I hadn't known this was meat, would be, oh, hey, look, bread. It came through so consistent. It looks like white bread with a very crusty outside. I'm getting hungry. No, never mind. Been hungry. Still though.
what she says in the video.
Oh, did
Now
you
take
see that?
I'm just gonna mimic that.
Like, watch this part right
Quarter-inch
here.
Pieces. That's what she says in the video.
Oh, you could actually see the juice squirting out of it. Like right here. It's literally just squirting right out. Oh, it's going everywhere. I hope I remember to cut that out. That is not what I meant to say. Oh, God. I'm so glad no one here ever clips this shit. Oh,
In the video. Now take the bacon, cut 1/4 inch thick. I'm just gonna slice it up like this. This is the
1/4 inch?
cooking
Yeah, it's
juices from the roast, the pork roast earlier today, 10 years ago.
Oh,
The
yeah,
fat
because
has
you got all the
solidified on
fat
the
off
very
it
top.
that
So
way.
just gonna peel that off. So I think I have removed all but 2 tablespoons of fat from the
how can you even see the fat?
lamb. Yeah, the
I guess she's
lamb
trying to leave less fat
roasting
in there?
juices.
Does it change how it mixes later?
So confused. Okay.
You ain't the only one,
so
buddy.
What I have to do? Pour the cooked and drained beans into the lamb
just went
cooking
over the
juice,
edge.
and then
I can't
stir
do
in
that. That
any
would bug me
juices
so
you may
much.
have from the roast pork, and then gotta simmer this for 5 minutes.
What I don't get is, if this is
Turn
peasant
off the
fare,
heat,
why are they
and this
removing the
has to
fat?
hang out
That's
for
extra
10 minutes.
calories.
Drain the beans when you're ready for final assembly.
It going everywhere
It's
actually
just because
bugs me
I'm
so
running
much.
out of bowls.
You're running out of everything there. It's going all over the
Bring
place.
back that salad bowl.
With the wood
The only one that
absorbent?
works right now. Try that again. Okay, I think I have every single component of this dish ready for assembly.
Is it?
Arrange a layer of beans in the bottom of the dish.
It's a casserole.
And
Yeah,
the
it's
lamb.
literally just... It's like meat
Then the
lasagna
roast
without
pork.
any pasta.
The roast pork. There might be too much of that.
That looks good.
It's like a layer cake of meat.
Yes!
Next up, the bacon slices.
And it looks like it's amazing, but there's so much going on.
Sausage cakes. And we're
It's just meat lasagna. We're literally looking at meat and bean lasagna. It looks amazing, but at every step of the way, I was right. This is literally just multiple meals you're just smashing together.
ending with the beans. There's nothing else, right? Yeah. This is
They
the
just
most
cut it
amount
in
of food I've
slices?
ever made in one go.
Yeah,
Meat juices
meat
on
cake.
top. And this is
That's
the
surprising,
bean
like a
cooking juices. Remember that? That
Bean
has
juice,
to go
really?
and reach the surface of these beans. Whoa,
Oh.
whoa, 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 whoa. Yes.
It was the
that's
right
exact-
amount.
Right? Where is that scale? Where's the
You
scale?
have a scale for this? That is so much food.
Need a scale.
Go out and get one.
Spread on breadcrumbs. On. Okay, so I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
use
see why.
some-
So it's supposed to get soggy to seal it in. Oh. Okay, that actually makes sense. And a lot of things are already cooked, so it doesn't need to be cooked as long and maybe destroy the breadcrumbs because they would have eaten less.
Duck fat, remember from my duck video?
What? How much fat do you have?
Too late in the day for this. Pour the fat on top.
Further sealing it or just adding flavor?
For what reason, I have no idea at this point. Bring this to the stove. Holy sh**.
God,
That is heavy.
Yes.
To a simmer.
That is so much food. I mean, it looks very appealing on the top. But I mean, breadcrumbs and parsley is an easy go for it. But still. I'm actually a little afraid to see what this turns out like, because it seems like an absolute monstrosity that might start popping or exploding as unreleased gas comes up, for all I know. I don't think it will, but this is just insane.
It's got
I can
this
see why
like
this would take 3
protective
days.
breadcrumb layer on top, so I have no idea when it starts.
But that's also probably why, because it's French peasant foods, they were making things that could last a long time. So this is probably something that would be saved by sealing it in with all the fat on the top. If anything, it might have less fat now. I wonder if that would be the intention of purpose for it, because it's peasant food. So it's meant to be very dense. It's something you could probably just take with you, because you wouldn't actually have time to spread it out as multiple meals. You'd need, okay, here is everything in a pie. You're probably going to take this as cuts too. I would not be surprised.
It's simmering. I mean, it sounds like something's happening under there, but I can't be 100% sure. Yeah, you don't want to burn the bottom, so I'm just going to call it there.
Oh, it'd have to be
Upper
like really
part
low
of my
heat.
oven.
Oh.
Yeah.
More. Oh God, did you see that thing? Like, look at this pan. These are reasonably sturdy, and then this thing is about to give under it right there.
Yeah.
He didn't even put it down that heavy. It's bending under its own weight, even when it's holding. If his oven wasn't this big and these were any cheaper, I could see this thing flexing so much it slides out and hits the rung down. Dear God.
That's at 375. For what, 20 minutes? For 20 minutes. Take a look. So she says break the crust with a spoon and then start basting with the liquid. Whoa, not the beans, with the liquid. I think I do that with all the crust. Break it all
You
with the
mix it
back
in
of the
rather than
spoon.
making an
It's kind of
entire
unclear, honestly.
It's not sealing it in.
There's some liquid. Turn the oven down to 350. So
God,
I gotta
it's
bake
going
that for an
everywhere.
hour. And well, throughout that hour, I'll continue to break the crust.
Why do you
And
wanna
baste
keep
the top of
breaking
it.
it?
Repeat several times as the crust forms again, but leave a final crust intact for serving. If
Oh, okay. So there is intentionally a crust, but you want to make sure it all gets cooked all together and without being cooked too fast, because then it would burn on the top. Because if you don't break it, then the things underneath will be at the wrong temperature. That makes more sense, because it's probably a balancing act of, okay, the crust is going to burn because it'll cook faster than everything else. So you have to keep breaking it and keep getting it liquid so it keeps breaking up. And this might also make it thicker in the end, rather than having a soggy layer under it.
the liquid in the casserole becomes too thick during the baking, add a spoonful or two of the bean cooking liquid.
Oh, you have more of it still.
Ooh, okay.
You can see how doubting if this would be good, because every part on its own should have just been fine. But I think the big part here is all of those meat juices are just going to seep into the beans. The ones on the top will get a little, but from that, but then the stuff that's heavier and sinks, because some of the juice would float to the top, some would float to the bottom. So there's going to be so many flavorings. Oh, I wonder if they would put the heavier juice producing meats at the top and the lighter ones at the bottom, so they would intentionally intermix as they go to the different locations. I don't even know if someone would think that far I had to do it, but that looks, I mean, I'll be honest, this is so good right now. I feel I should blur it. It's almost pornographic.
To say that I'm excited to eat this is an understatement. It's been nearly 10 hours since second helping, if you don't mind.
Whoa.
See, the thing is, I think I added too much breadcrumbs. All that liquid was absorbed by the breadcrumbs, and she says you could add more liquid as
So
it
it's
was
actually
baking,
supposed to
but
be
I had
more
no
liquid on
idea
top.
that the bottom would be completely absorbed as well.
Really? The breadcrumbs were that effective in taking up the liquid that they actually even got the top? I was not expecting them to be that absorbent. But I guess this is a much more thick mixture of it. But admittedly, that looks really good. On the other hand, if there was more liquid, maybe it would have more interplay with the flavors soaking into the beans, which I think is probably the point of them. They're literally filler, but they get so much of the cast-off juice, maybe they become more appetizing on their own.
So yeah, I've
don't
seen
know much about this
photos
type of
of
bean.
other cassoulet online, and they got a little more color to it and a little more liquid to them. But this one,
This is very colorful, though.
this one doesn't. You know, it doesn't take away from the taste, but it does
It's an
take away
appearance thing.
from like very pretty photo I could have got if I had a little more.
Pretty photo, my ass, dude. Yeah, look at this. Look at this and tell me that ain't pretty as fuck, man. I mean, sure, he added a bit of chopped up parsley to add the color of green, but still, that is just, that is just, yeah, like I said before, pornographic almost.
Color to it. I hope you like cassoulet, Jamie.
Oh, he's going to have
'Cause you're
so
gonna be
much.
eating that for the rest of the year. I
Yeah.
would say there's pros and cons to
Yeah.
making the cassoulet. Firstly, I mean, the pros
10
is
hours
that
and
it was
do it all at once?
delicious. And it was rewarding to eat it after a long day of cooking.
But-
And there was a lot of great flavors in there. And it was nice and filling and hearty. Of course, there's cons too. I mean, how long that thing took was,
Obscene.
yeah, I'm exhausted.
I mean, there's so many times there where if he just stopped, he'd have something absolutely amazing he could eat immediately. And, I mean, that's more just an immediacy thing. Now, I guess if it's peasant food and someone just has whatever they have, they're just going to make it last before it goes bad. So it does kind of make sense to save everything.
I've been on my feet the entire day making this thing.
I wonder if that's actually one of the reasons they didn't use the fat, because they had other purposes for it. So they need to save the fat for other things. Because again, I don't know what time period this was peasant food in. Now a lot of peasant food has become fine dining, so that doesn't really have the same impacts. Or even if adding the fat back in now might make it more flavorful because you don't need to restrain yourself.
There was no breaks. And I've used every dish I could find in this kitchen, and I've cleaned this kitchen up
Yeah,
3
you did.
or
It's
4
a lot
different
cleaner.
times. Did it have to take that long? Probably not. Did it need that many steps? I don't know. There's probably an easier way to make this thing. Julia. And yeah, the breadcrumbs. Be careful with those damn breadcrumbs because they're really just trying to steal the thunder. I'm not gonna let them bother me too much. At the end of the day, what can we say about the cassoulet? It took us to the end of the day. This was Jamie and Julia.
Oh,
Bon appetit. Au revoir.
that was insane. I don't know cooking because I can't. For safety reasons, I'm never allowed to anymore after, again, burning water. But every step of the way, I'm just looking at this going, why are you doing this to yourself? The outcome was amazing, but this is 10 hours. That's insane. That is, if you don't have a restaurant paying you, or you don't have a family who needs something dense to save all of your extra stuff, I don't know why you would do that. But it's peasant food, that makes sense. Still though, I mean, I'm blown away by the dedication. I'm blown away by the fact that he could sit there and do that, but God damn. The only problem I have with this is I didn't get to taste it at the end because I don't know where to find this. So I don't even get a comparison. And all those juices, all the meat seeping into the beans. I want that, damn it. I should have. Thankfully, I ate before this. Otherwise, I would be here just ravenous as opposed to now just being like, why? It's more curiosity as opposed to actual physical pain. Warrior, goddamn you. Because you probably think I was going to do this hungry, like most videos I do accidentally that way. Ha! Beat ya. But damn, man, that is... I can see why he said this video was about how this cassoulet should be an Olympic sport, because that is 10 hours crammed in from a 3-day process. This is obscene and beautiful on the outside, beautiful when it's finished, but there's no way this is in any way, shape, or form reasonable as a level of preparation. But maybe people who like to cook are like, ooh, a challenge. I have faced my ultimate enemy, and now I will defeat them. I don't know. I don't know how cookers are. Runners are insane like that. Maybe cooking people are as well. I mean, I'm insane, but that's different. I'm just like that. Basically, if you like this, let me know. This is something completely different. I did it by recommendation, and I just want to see what it was like, because I've never heard about this, and it was kind of fun. That said, wow, doing this hungry would have probably killed me. Yeah. Otherwise, you guys know the deal. Link below, video. Hit it up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.